Good evening, everybody. I welcome you to this webinar on how to train correctly to increase your scores. In the last webinar, I had discussed a very strange phenomena that I'm observing all over the world. I had briefly touched upon it. I'll touch upon it again. That people are training for 40 shots and they're practicing only 40 shots. Now, I can understand why shooting ranges allow or tend to promote 40 shot matches because they need to finish off the training of each shooter as quickly as possible so that the next shooter comes in and their turnover will increase. But that is a very wrong kind of practice to practice only for 40 shots. Basically, if you're practicing 40 shots and then you compete at a 60 shot match at the national level, you're going to fall short with respect to mental stamina and physical stamina. And obviously, you're not going to do well. So I'll make it very brief. You need to shoot a minimum of 90 shots, minimum of 90 shots per session. And if you aspire to be in the national team of your country, then you need to shoot 120 to 150 shots per session, 3 sessions per day for 5 days a week. That's the kind of mental stamina that you require, the kind of physical fitness that you require. And since we talk about 450 to 500 shots, obviously you need to take care of your physical health. Otherwise, you'll have very serious injuries. Now, if you go on my module number 3 and 4, training methodology and advanced training methodology, all the exercises which are meant to keep you fit and to help you avoid injuries, these are spelled out in great detail. It's obvious that in the next half an hour, I can't discuss all these exercises because on the module, they are with very good illustrations and videos. You should see in which all my shooters, national as well as international shooters, are on this group. They post their diaries regularly for each and every training session. And in each and every diary, each and every shooter starts off with the correct warming up exercises. And it's not only just warming up exercises, physical exercises, but also mental exercises as well as technical exercises. So warming up is of 3 types: mental, physical, and technical. And these are taught to my shooters through all the modules in my online training. So when these shooters start their training session, they're perfectly warmed up. Now, why you should warm up physically? It's very simple. If your body is warmed up physically, you reduce the chances of injuries. Second thing is, when you warm up technically and mentally, you begin shooting your best from the very first shot. And when you get into the habit of warming up technically, physically, and mentally, you do the same thing before a match session, then the chances of bringing your practice scores into your match situation becomes a little better. Now, besides the warming up sessions for each exercise, for each training session, there are cooling down exercises also, which are taught in my training modules and which are followed by all my students. Cooling down exercises are ignored by a lot of shooters. See, when you do an intensive training, especially our kind of training, shooting, which is a right hand, we use the right hand or the left hand, because there's a lot of stress on the spinal column. And after the training session is done, there's a lot of lactic acid which is formed in the blood, which needs to be removed. And that is why you should do intensive stretching exercises, which take about 15-20 minutes. You need to get into this habit, and this is the habit which most of my shooters develop. There's a question from Sarthak Sharma, and he says that his wrist is breaking up and down. Now, This is an exercise, the wrist lock exercise, which helps you to get rid of this up and down movement. And this is what happened. Your front side goes up and down. So there's the wrist lock exercises, which are spelled out in training methodology, exercises 1 to 8. And when you do these exercises, you will learn to keep your wrist locked when you're shooting. Right? If you're a right-hand shooter, you must do holding with your left hand for at least 2 minutes. If you've been shooting 10 shots, 15 shots, you break the rhythm and do 2 minutes holding with the left hand with your head pointed towards the target. If you're doing right hand shooting, then there's the left hand holding for minimum 2 minutes. And if you see the diaries of our shooter, you will see that 2 minute holding, so many minutes, 2 minutes holding, so many minutes. The reason for doing this is obvious. When you're holding your pistol on the right hand, there's a lot of stress and your muscles in your body are also under a lot of stress. When you do the left hand, it's the balancing exercise. It reduces the stress. It releases the stress in your body. So left hand balancing for right hand shooters is recommended, and right hand balancing is recommended for left hand shooters. Now, one of the other advantages that most of my shooters benefit when they come on the WhatsApp group. See, there's a WhatsApp group that I have in which all these members, all my students, post their diaries of the training session. So let us see, I'm posting my diary today, and I've done all my exercises. I see who are the other shooters and students who have posted their diaries. And when I see their diaries, I naturally compare with what I am doing. Okay. And when you compare yourself with others, you get to learn a lot from most of these shooters. And let me tell you, there are some shooters who post their diaries regularly, and they are shooting between 580 and 585. And when you see their diaries and their training and their system of self-discipline, you're rubbing shoulders with the best in the world. As compared to shooters, you go to the range and you meet shooters, or I don't know, not all of them shoot 580, obviously. So you're rubbing shoulders with very ordinary shooters, 555, 560s, and hardly any one of them writes diaries. So mentally, there is no communication. So that's one of the advantages of being on the WhatsApp group. On my WhatsApp group, you have all kinds of shooters, not only national shooters, but international shooters, and they are training, and you do get inspired. Definitely, you do get inspired by reading their diaries. Just a minute. There's somebody who's asked me a question. Where can I find the cooling down exercises? Jani, you can find the cooling down exercises in module number 3. The physical fitness exercises are there, and then the cooling down exercises are there. The cooling down exercises are the warming up exercises, but they are free, which is the free basic course. One of the most important aspects in shooting and to increase your scores is obviously mental. And 99%, this sport is all mental. Now, when you want to increase your scores, you obviously, the first thing you need to do to improve your scores is learn how to shoot a 10. Because that's the way you can improve your scores. Obviously, you're not planning to shoot on 9s. You need to shoot 10s for every shot. Now, once you learn how to shoot a 10, it's the shooting of rows of 10s consistently, one after the other, which shooters find difficult. And the reason I feel that shooting a 10 is very easy, repeating the 10s is also easy, but shooters make it difficult for themselves. And I'm speaking from experience. Like you, I have been a shooter at the national level, and I have gone through all this, so I know how to shoot a 10, and when I have to shoot rows of 10s during my days, I used to find it difficult. And one of the reasons I used to find it difficult was I was not used to shooting number of 10s. So you need to get used to number of 10s, and that is the confidence that you should have, the self-image that you should have, that yes, I can shoot rows of 10s. But the problem takes place is to shoot rows of 10s, first 10, second 10, third 10, fourth 10, fifth 10, sixth 10, seventh 10, is the preparation between one 10 and the second 10, or the one shot in which you have shot a 10 and the second shot in which you have shot a 10, the preparation between the first shot and the second shot. So what is this preparation? How do you prepare? This is all given in my mental skills module number 5. I'll give you in brief what you have to do. It's your thinking. What is it that you are thinking between one shot and the next shot? It decides whether your next shot will be a 10 or not a 10. I'll repeat once again. If you want to learn how to shoot rows of 10s, then you have to concentrate on your mental preparation between what is it that you should be thinking, or what is the mental preparation between one shot and the other shot, so that the next shot is a 10. This takes a lot of systematic training. You need to have the correct knowledge. Once again, if you ask me where it is, obviously it is on my training modules. Now you may say, okay, every time you are saying training modules, obviously I'm going to tell you training modules, because these things can't be taught to you in a jiffy. These things take time. You don't become a national or international level shooter within a moment. You need to first have the knowledge. Second, you need to implement that knowledge in a very systematic manner, like the way I have just told you, 90 shots, 120 shots. Develop the mental skills, develop the mental stamina, develop the physical stamina. And most importantly, you have to develop the self-image. See, 99% of the shooters, 99% of the shooters give up shooting because they don't have a very good self-image. Now, when I'm saying between one shot and the second shot, what is your mental preparation? The mental preparation is done not on the firing point. It is done years, months and days and weeks before you shoot that match or that practice session. All that preparation, mental preparation, helps you to shoot rows of 10s. First 10, second 10, third 10, fourth 10, and that gap between the first and second shot, this is the mental preparation that you need to do. And it is not done overnight. It takes days, weeks, months, and sometimes even years to develop that kind of mental attitude, mental strength. Now, I'll give you an example of just one example of what that means. Recently, I keep asking my shooters, one way I can make out. These shooters are working very, very hard. They train extremely hard. They are shooting around 110 in a day. Yes, believe it or not, and that is why one of the reasons why India is number one in the world is because there are millions of shooters, millions of youngsters who are training day in and day out, 500 shots in a day. But I have asked these guys, and I said, all right, you're working very hard. Tell me one question. Just relax, sit down, just cool down and answer this question. Think about it and answer this question very carefully. Okay? So then I asked them this question. How much are you shooting now? So some of them say 65, 565 and 570, 575. Okay, and how many shots do you train in a day? 500, 400, whatever. All right. Do you believe that you can be in the top 20 in India, in your country? Do you believe that you can be in the top 10? Do you believe that you can be number one? And suddenly you can make out. An experienced coach can immediately make out whether this guy or this shooter is got it in him or not. The number one, there's shooters in this in my group. One is from Sweden, one is from Denmark, one is from Germany, and one is from Finland. And you ask them, well, what do you think? Yeah, 580. Not a problem. I can do it. See, this easy answer is missing. So you may be shooting 580, 585 also in the match. But if you cringe or flinch inside when you are asked the question, do you feel, do you see yourself, do you visualize yourself being the number one in your country, or at least being number one in the top 5, or at least being in the top 10? And then I say, okay, the first thing you need to do is develop the inner confidence, the inner self-image. And no amount of slogging and shooting 500 tens is not going to work. In practice, you may shoot brilliantly, but in matches, why? Let me tell you again, it is systematic training, the correct knowledge, and systematic implementation of this knowledge. I'll give you an example of 99% of the shooters and how they approach a match. In practice, they're shooting brilliantly. Okay, they may even shoot 580, 575, 580. Now what happens is, when they go in a match, and they've shot just yesterday 570, 575, inside they take this expectation that they're going to do 575 in this match. It is this expectation that they take in the match, and the moment they shoot the sighters also brilliantly, and then they know, yeah, today is going to be my day. And the first record shot and the trigger freezes. So then they say, oh my God, it doesn't matter, I'll cancel. I'll start all over. And they keep on trying, the trigger freezes, the trigger freezes, the trigger freezes. Then they're saying, oh my God, what's happening? I've spent 3-4 minutes, 3-4 cancellations, got to get going. And then, bang, they shoot, it's a 9 or sometimes even an 8. Then they get rattled a bit because everything that expectation has got series in their mind. Oh, the first series has to be 95 plus. Eventually, they start badly. They take 10-15 minutes to shoot the first series, and it's nowhere near 95. It's nowhere near the practice score. It's nowhere near. Sometimes as horrible as 89, 90. They're sweating. Their sides are trembling. The hands are sweating. The butterfly in the stomach. The heart is beating rapidly, and they just don't know what is happening. My God, what am I doing? In my practice, I was shooting brilliantly, and here, what happened? So what happens is, first series, second series, third series, very ordinary shooting. But the fourth series, the shooter sits down and he realizes he's not going to shoot his practice score. The moment that realization sinks in, suddenly his fifth and sixth series become very normal. He shoots brilliantly the way he's shooting in the match. Now, why does this happen? This happens because of expectation of the score. They're expecting the same score to come in the match. And then that expectation also has a huge price tag. Is the price of failure. The fear of failure. Am I going to achieve it? Am I not going to achieve it? What if I don't achieve it? If I don't achieve it, then what are all the shooters on the range going to say? He shoots so brilliantly in practice, and what has suddenly happened to him? So all these things, the fear, this brings your scores, practice scores in the matches. This requires systematic training, the correct training. You need to have the knowledge. What is this? Why is it that I always get tense? Why is it that my match pressure, what do I do? And then the people all around them say, oh, keep on shooting. Keep on shooting a lot of matches, All right, fine. But matches are not there every day. There's a gap between these matches, 1 month, 2 months. So how many matches are you going to train? So a number of months go down, the months turn into years, and you still can't get out of this. And this is called as, and this is called as the Abhimanyu syndrome. What is this Abhimanyu syndrome? In the folklore of in India, there is the Mahabharata, where the epic battle between good and bad. In this battle between good and bad, there is one central figure, a character by the name of Abhimanyu, who's a brilliant warrior. Now, this brilliant warrior, I'll cut the story very short. He enters the battlefield, and there is a formation, a fighting formation by the enemy, in which once the soldier or the warrior comes on his chariot, he is circled from all sides. It's called as the chakra view. So this Abhimanyu gets caught up in this chakra view, and from all four sides, he's finally defeated and killed. This is the Abhimanyu syndrome which most shooters face. See, when they come, they're talented, they're fresh, it's a clean slate. They start shooting 560, 65, 570, and then they suddenly link their expectations with, getting a good job, becoming an international shooter, and then name and fame and glory. And that's where the fear of failure and fear of criticism comes in, and you start shooting badly. And then you no longer enjoy your shooting. You're stuck in this chakra view, in this formation. And this formation is nothing but a habit that you get into of shooting badly. It's a habit. Just like shooting correctly and well is also a good habit, shooting badly also. The way you approach shooting, you need to think differently. The paradigm shift means that you abandon the old way of thinking and adopt a new way of thinking. It's a new approach. What this paradigm shift is, it will require one entire webinar, but you can read it up on my modules. You must be saying, there he goes back again on his module. Paradigm shift is not getting hooked onto your scores. To shoot with the joy of shooting. How do you get this joy of shooting is explained in great detail. Or someone wants to, okay, Jani, please come. Here is one of the shooters I was talking about, 580 plus. Please welcome Jani from Finland, one of my best students. And all of you all must thank him, because it's a privilege to listen to his shooting, or to his discussion. Good evening, Jani. Good to see you.
Hello. Good evening for everybody.
Good evening. Tell me, what can be? I think questions for you. If you have questions for Jani, please go ahead.
So I have a few questions about the diary that I haven't sent every day the details to you, but do you want it that we all the shooters send it to the WhatsApp group?
Your internet connection seems to be a little weak.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's okay. We can hear you, so you carry on. Your audio is clear.
Okay, so like the diary, I'm just asking that. Do I have to send it every day, the diary, to you in the WhatsApp group? Is it
yes.
Okay?
Yes, please do. Please do, because as you can see, then I am in touch. I know exactly what Jani is doing or not doing, or if he's busy in his job, or he's out of town, or I know your work schedule. I know everything. But it is reassuring to see, see you're a world-class shooter, and it's very important that I keep watching your diary, like all the other top shooters are doing.
Okay, nice.
So keep posting. Keep posting your diary.
I will do that. So what about the warm-up exercises when you are training like home, when I'm doing like the exercise 4 and 5 and other exercises that I have, do I have to make the warm-up before each and every practice, even it's only like 40 shots? Or
yes.
Serious?
I think in module number 4, all the warming up exercises.
Yes.
And those warming up exercises are to be done before each and every training session.
Okay. And it doesn't matter, is it only like dry firing or like live shoots? I have to do every time.
Yes, see, everyone works out his own warming up sessions. Each shooter has his own warming up routine. You can decide what you want to do.
Okay.
Exactly how much of each exercise you want to do.
Okay, very good. And you just told about the match pressure. You just said like I feeling in the brains when I'm going to the competition. So I want to know more, and I don't have anything to ask now more. So I just listen to your show.
Yes. Since we are on the topic, and some of these people out here would like to know, because you have taken all the modules, so let's discuss, let people know what we are doing. See, as I told you, that you have to have these red flags. You know what the red flags are?
Yes, I know.
Okay. So the red flag is when you need to overcome the match pressure on the firing point, you need to work backwards. Yeah. And how far backward you work is the time, the moment you get to know of your next match.
Yes.
Yeah, remember? So it's either someone calls you up and tells you, hey, there is a match on such and such day, or you get an email from your club, or you visit the website of your national rifle your association, and you see it on the website. And that is the first red flag, because that's where you get your first.
It is.
So that is the starting point.
Yes.
Now, how do you convert the red flag into a green flag? That is an exercise. Yeah.
Yes, it is, and I know how to do it. And I'm just doing when I'm now competition in this summer, so I'm doing that all the time.
Great. And mind you, it is tough to do it. Initially, getting into the habit is tough, but once it's easy. So I'll just go over it briefly for the other shooters, for the other people who are interested. The first red flag starts with the first time you come to know that there is a match being held on such and such day, so many days away, or next month, or in the future. That's the first red flag. Then comes a series of red flags. The second red flag, it could be that when you're going to the shooting range, after you know that you're going to match on the 22nd of the next month, then the second red flag could be, is the filling the form. The filling the form of the competition. So when you're filling the form of the competition, there is little red.
Yes.
So that is the second red flag. The third red flag is you send the form, you're booking your tickets. That's another red flag. The fourth thing is when you go on the shooting range, after you come to know, supposing yesterday night you came to know that there's a match on the 22nd of next month, and today morning you're going, that thought comes in, how am I going to shoot? Right? So that's the fourth red flag. So then as you go closer and closer and closer to the date of the match, say for example, now you're packing up, okay? A few days before you're packing up, your pistol, everything, and suddenly you say, oh my God, I have trained, but how am I going to perform? That thought comes in, and let's say then you reach the hotel, or you're traveling, you get down, you reach the hotel of the competition, and the night before you're brushing your teeth and you say, how am I going to shoot? So these are red flags. Right up to the time that you walk into the shooting range for the first time to see a new venue, there is a heartbeat, flutter. So these things are a series of red flags right up to the time you occupy your firing point on the day of the match. Now these red flags are to be converted into green flags. And there is a system of doing it. It takes time. And all this is... Sorry?
It's not easy, but I'm trying to do that.
No, it's not easy. You need to work hard. You need to be motivated to do it. But once you get the discipline, like Jani has got the discipline now, he's disciplined himself to, before he goes to sleep at night, that exercise he keeps doing every night, right?
Yes,
and then, yes, every night you do that exercise, and gradually you get used to it, and then it becomes easy. The first time is difficult. The second time, it's not so difficult. And the third time, you get used to it. You become a master. You become a master, and you overcome match pressure, and you translate your practice scores in your match.
Yes.
You have anybody has got questions can use your chat box. You can ask Jani or you can ask me. Please use your chat box. Anybody like to ask questions?
Please ask if you have something questions.
All right. There's a question from Mr. Dubey. He says, where are these models available? They are available on www.foresightshooting.com. Or if you want, just go on the internet, Hemant Jadhav shooting, and you get to my website. But I want any specific questions for Jani. Okay. Mr. Dubey says, how can I join the WhatsApp group? You have to be a member. You have to subscribe to these models and then you become a member of this WhatsApp group. Again, Mr. Dubey is very active. He says, what should be my 1 month plan to increase my score? Your 1 month plan? Well, Jani, what do you have to, how would you answer his question? He says, I would like to know a 1 month plan to increase my score.
It depends on what you want to how much you want to make the better score. I think and you have time to do that exactly right.
Right, and
no rushing. You have to keep timing for that.
Yes. Okay. 1 minute. There's somebody else. Okay. Okay, Jani. I'll. Can you? Thank you for your time. Just stand by, and I will continue with my webinar.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you can always ask me on the WhatsApp group. Okay, just 1 minute. There's somebody who
asks.
Yeah. Okay. Here, can you see the question?
Yes, I can see. So I have been shooting since 2015. I started in my hometown in Finland, Rovaniemi, it's in northern Finland, and I haven't had a coach before I bought these modules, and I have trained it by myself. And I had to really say that I have been wasting of time a lot because I didn't know how to train correctly. Different types exercises. So now when I started this program, I think I have been get better and better very fast. And so about 7 years it comes now in the summer.
And since how many years or how many months have you taken to join my group?
I joined it in April, if I remember right.
Yes. You're a very recent student.
Oh,
he's been shooting from last 7 years, but he's been my student from the last 3-4 months.
Yes.
And well, you have what he's already told you his experience.
Yes, I think I'm much better shooter now, and I how to say it. Before I know some kind of training method you can do, but nobody never told me what to do and why I'm doing that thing. So I didn't know how to do it right and correctly, and that's why when I saw these videos in the modules, so I decided, okay, this is going to be my thing now. I'm going to do this, and I think I have been better and better every day.
I hope, Sarthak, that answers your question. Thank you very much, Jani. Please stand by. Please stand by. I will continue with the main course of the webinar.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Jani from Finland, and one of the most important things that he just stressed was commitment. Commitment, motivation, and the strong will to achieve your goal. Like I said, from the last 30 years, I've seen so many shooters. And one of the reasons is these guys don't progress. Sir, are you away? Sir, you are very wonderful and inspiration to us. Thank you. Thank you, Dubey. Thank you very much. Now, let me get back to the main theme. Is why is it that shooters don't progress? I mean, we are talking about how to improve your scores. But there are shooters who don't improve. They keep shooting. They get stuck in that, as I said, the Chakravyuh, this vicious cycle. The main reason is mental rigidity. What is this mental rigidity? They refuse to change. They refuse to change. They will go day in and day out, day in and day out. And the parents are thinking, wow, what a fantastic job my son or my daughter is doing. Every day he goes to the shooting range. Every day, regularly, in the rain, in the heat, in winter. And what does this boy and this girl do? Keep shooting. Tins after tins, tins after tins, tins after tins. Some days he shoots very well. He's on the top of the world. Now I'm going to make it to the Olympics. And then some days you go down, and that's more often than not, he's down in the dumps. But the rigidity, you're refusing to accept that there is something lacking in you. You lack the knowledge. You lack the systematic training to implement this knowledge, which you don't have. And you think, very wrongly, that shooting tins after tins after tins will get you there somewhere. So you shoot matches, you shoot bad matches, you come back, you get depressed. And then after some time, you say, the first thing is you spend 1.5 to 1.75 lakhs on an air pistol. Second thing is you spend about 50 to 60 tins in a year. Each tin costs 750 bucks. That's nearly about 45,000 rupees every year. Okay, and then is the amount of time that you spend, which you don't consider at all. Why? Is your time useless? Zero? It doesn't have any value. If you spend 3 to 4 hours of training, 3 hours on the range and 1 hour to go and 1 hour to come back, 3 to 4 hours, 4 hours into $20 an hour, which is very, very low, or 100 rupees per hour, that's about 400 to 500 rupees in a day. And that comes to about 15,000 rupees in a month, which works out to be about how much? 15,000 in a month into 12, 1,80,000. That's 1,80,000 worth of time that you have spent per year. Now you'll say, that's the time I've got. Fine. If you spend that time, 3-4 hours in a profession, mastering a profession, architecture, doctor, medical, or whatever, you will have, in 3 years' time, you will be a professional. Now, if you're willing to spend money on an institute or in a medical college or an architectural college or a computer science college, then why is it that you can't spend a little bit of money on a proper coach? No, you don't want to do that. And so you spend 1 million rupees, 10 lakh rupees, and waste your time. And after 3 years, you waste all that. You carry a whole load of baggage of negativity simply because you're refusing to change. All you need to do is find a good coach, pay him correctly. This rigidity is what stops you from becoming a good shooter. And that is why only 1% of the shooters make it to the national team. 99% give up simply because of rigidity. Ego, oh, I can do it. I can do it. Go ahead, do it. 3 years down the line. But those who are smart, they invest in the correct training plan. I'm not saying you come to me. I'm not here to market my course. Find a good coach. Go to that coach. See what his results are. Check his results. Don't just go by what he says. Is he there for you every day? Does he check your training every day? Does he have even if he's far away from you, does he have a WhatsApp group? Do you report to him every day? Can you discuss your problem with him on an everyday basis? Or whenever you have a problem, do you have access to him? Do you? If you don't, then you need to find somebody, or you, I'm sorry to say, give up the sport of shooting and do something more constructive in life. It's very, very sorry to say that. I hope you are thinking about what I've just said. You need the right equipment, you need the right coaching, the right knowledge. You need to have the self-belief. You need to be confident from inside if you want to achieve your, if you wish to be an international shooter. Yes, if you just want to improve your scores, you take shooting as a hobby, fine. Then there's no other sport, at least for me, there's no other sport in the world like shooting. I have my own shooting range, I have my own pistol. Whenever I feel like I pick up the pistol, I shoot. If you're just going to do that, it's fine. Whenever I have the time between my work, I shoot. The most satisfying sport. All right, we have discussed this long enough. If you have any questions for me, please use your chat box. Okay, Mr. Dubey again, I am also shooting for 3 years, but there is no such progress. Well, Mr. Dubey, you are not the only one. 99% of the shooters all over the world are facing the same problem because you don't have somebody to show you the path. Yes, there are coaches, and then there are coaches. They're good coaches. You have to find a good coach. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. If you have any questions within the next few seconds, please, you can join me like Jani did, or you can you can use the chat box. Okay, here's a question. I'm shooting with a club pistol. When should I choose to buy my own pistol? I'm 12 years old. Wow, 12 years old. That's a tough question because I don't know what you are doing, what your scores are. I don't know whether you're financially capable, but if you're asking me the question that you can buy your own pistol, then you can go ahead and buy anytime you want, provided you buy the Morini. And why I'm saying the Morini is because I'm not an agent of Morini. I don't advertise for Morini. But it is my experience of 30 years. In the last 15 years, I've been shooting. I've been using the Morini, and I've used each and every other pistol, and I find the trigger of the Morini the best. And for those of you who really know they are shooting, you will understand that the entire thing, the secret of good shooting lies in the trigger. And there is no other trigger than the Morini at the moment in the market. So if you wish to buy a pistol, Sarthak, you should buy the Morini. Any other question? Please use your chat box. If you have any questions, you can use my WhatsApp number. Here's my WhatsApp number. And email me your questions. Okay, my scores are 360 out of 400. Fine, that's very good. If you're a 12-year-old chap using a club pistol, that's a very decent score. Very decent score. Any other question that you have, Sarthak? Please feel free to use my email ID or my WhatsApp. You can call me and post any question. Thank you very much. Till we meet for the next webinar, good night.